Today we explore why early humans were more terrifying than you think and why it matters. First, let's understand the basics of this topic. Here is an interesting fact that might surprise you. Early humans were far more brutal than modern portrayals suggest. Archaeological evidence reveals shocking violence patterns. Modern media often romanticizes our ancient ancestors too much. Real early humans engaged in systematic mass killings. Evidence shows organized warfare existed much earlier than thought. Skull artifacts demonstrate deliberate brutal head injuries. These wounds show signs of repeated, targeted attacks. Violence extended beyond warfare into everyday interactions. Infanticide rates were shockingly high in ancient communities. Newborn males often killed to ensure paternal inheritance lines. Females faced brutal treatment, including ritualized executions. Sexual violence was systematically practiced against both genders. Disease spread rapidly through close-knit violent communities. Life expectancy remained under 30 years for most early humans. Starvation was common during seasonal resource scarcity. Groups often split due to internal conflicts over resources. Violence created permanent refugee populations of displaced families. Weapon technology advanced primarily for offensive rather than defensive purposes. Spear points suggest aggressive hunting strategies targeting other humans. Mass graves reveal coordinated group executions across regions. These burial sites show multiple individuals killed simultaneously. Tribal conflicts resulted in entire community annihilation events. Archaeologists found fort site remains showing defensive preparations. Population control measures included systematic group elimination. Young men were often sacrificed in ritualistic human sacrifice practices. Elderly individuals faced abandonment or targeted killing regularly. Food storage failures led to cannibalism during desperate periods. Anthropologists discovered preserved remains showing clear cannibalistic marks. Disease outbreaks decimated vulnerable populations without medical care. Smallpox and other pathogens ran rampant through crowded settlements. Mental health impacts were severe with no therapeutic interventions available. Trauma injuries show evidence of prolonged suffering before death. Childhood mortality rates exceeded 90% in some regions. Adult survival required constant vigilance against hostile groups. Trust was nearly impossible between different tribal communities. Resource competition drove most violent encounters between groups. Climate changes intensified conflicts over habitable territory. Megafauna extinction may have been partially human-caused through overhunting. Early humans carried diseases that wiped out entire animal populations. Environmental destruction occurred through slash-and-burn agricultural methods. Soil depletion reduced food production capacity dramatically over time. Cultural practices included systematic slavery and brutal punishment systems. Punishment often involved prolonged torture before execution. Religious ceremonies frequently incorporated human sacrifice elements. Elite status was maintained through violence and control of others. Social hierarchies developed based on capacity for organized brutality. Technological advantages determined which groups dominated others. Genetic diversity decreased due to violent population bottlenecks. Intermarriage between groups was rare due to mutual hostility patterns. Migration patterns were driven by fleeing rather than exploration. Settlement locations were chosen for defensive rather than convenience reasons. Architectural remains show fortified structures were standard requirements. Trade networks were minimal due to distrust between distant communities. Art and cultural expressions focused heavily on themes of warfare and death. Cave paintings predominantly depict violent scenes and hunting expeditions. Symbolic representations often included weapons and aggressive animal imagery. Modern humans inherited these violent behavioral tendencies through evolution. Understanding our history helps us recognize and control these impulses. Thank you for exploring why early humans were more terrifying than you think.